Now, some scientists suggest data shows the peak of the Omicron-fueled wave of COVID in the UK has passed, and that the same will soon happen in the United States because Omicron is so contagious, it's running out of people to infect. So what is the situation here in Canada? Could we be close to a peak or a plateau? To answer that question, let's turn to Sally Otto. She is a modeling expert and evolutionary biology professor at the University of British Columbia. Welcome to the Rundown.
Thank you.
So first, what do you infer from your data here at home in Canada?
It's hard to tell because in most jurisdictions we've run against testing capacity limits, and that makes it really challenging to know. But looking at the data on wastewater and looking at the data on subsets of the population, like those over 65 who are still being tested, shows that we haven't yet hit the peak in Canada. But models project that it should happen in the next week or two, certainly by the end of January, potentially much sooner in most jurisdictions. Now that's for cases. Hospitalization is lagged, and so we would expect peaks in hospitalization demand a week or two after that.
Now, we heard yesterday from BC's top doctor, Dr. Bonnie Henry. She suggested that that province might soon start seeing a decline in cases, or at least a leveling off, as she put it during that press briefing. So is that a different interpretation of similar data?
Well, the case number is for sure leveling off, and that's because of the testing limits. And so the question really is, what about the true number of infections underlying those case counts? And that's where there is still some uncertainty. The data for the over 70-year-olds, as I said, has not peaked and has not plateaued and continues to show rising case numbers. The wastewater data just came live in BC, and for the last 4 days, it spiked relative to before Christmas, huge spike in number of cases, 10 to 20-fold higher than at that point, and then a slight decline over the last 4 days. But wastewater data is always wobbly, and whether that's due to changing weather patterns or actual changes in virus counts, we need a few more days of data to know.
What would make it different here than it is in the UK and possibly the US?
I don't think it is substantially different. I think in all of these jurisdictions, Omicron rates are just skyrocketing. And that does lead to many people having immunity against Omicron. So Omicron eventually does run out of people to infect. And that's what causes the fast downturn. South Africa has now undergone a really fast downturn, and the UK is starting to show that, as are some states like New York and Washington, D.C., and a few other states, according to the analysis of a fellow modeler, Dean Carlin.
And I know you said that you are waiting for a little bit more data that is coming in the days ahead. Wondering, though, whether or not any sort of trajectory looks like the end is coming.
Yeah, all of the models that I've seen from myself and other modelers are all showing a really fast peak that leads also to a fast decline on the other side. And that we should be seeing in the next few weeks. Omicron is ripping really quickly through communities, but that should then lead to fairly high immunity to Omicron, and cases will plummet. But the real surge in hospitalizations, that's a huge concern. I think we're going to be seeing that. We're seeing hospitalization rates skyrocketing now, and I don't think we'll be over that hospital peak until the beginning of February.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insights on this today. That is Sally Otto in Vancouver. She's a modeling expert and professor at the University of British Columbia. Thank you.
Thank you.